Marquette,
Larry Richard, Ken Wilder,
Rocky Blair,
Bonnie Diver,
Rick Seaback,
Mike Wysocki, John Snyderwall,
Greg Brown,
Tyler Kennedy, Santonio Holmes.
and this is the YaJagoff podcast.
And this is the YaJagoff podcast, and it's been a while since we've been here at the mall.
Well, we've never been in this space.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's definitely been a while since we've been in the mall because we've been busy.
Right. And we're sweating today because we're in a new space, new people, new things, all kinds of
New
things.
people don't make us sweat. Just the space. Just the space.
Right, right. So, and if you're listening for the first time, this is the YaJagoff podcast. You can listen to it on iTunes. You should subscribe on Google Play Music and Stitcher Radio. Right. And on the iHeartRadio app. And this is where we talk about all the cool things going on in Pittsburgh. And the list of guests is actually kind of fits that.
Yeah. Well, we almost were nervous because we had such a good cast of guests today. We felt like we needed to sprinkle them into other podcasts because it's pretty all-star, if you ask me.
Yeah,
we've
for
been
sure.
we've been coordinating and communicating with Chris Klein from beautiful Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And his wife, the Property Diva.
Yep.
I mean, this is how our conversation goes. I'm listening to Star 100.7. I text John and say, this Property Diva is everywhere. And he's like, I know, I just heard this too. So we're like, we have to get her on the podcast. We're getting on a flight to go to Wisconsin, and we email Chris. And he emails back within a minute, and that was like a month ago. So here we are finally.
Right. And then we randomly see him at the McDonald's. They had a quarter pounder taste, and we're like, hey, who are you? Hey, wait, we know you. We know your email address.
Typical Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, we've always engaged in the fact that we can have the History Center do anything with us.
Right.
So we have Brian Woodcoe, and we have Michael Machowski, who has a lot to say about Next Pittsburgh, as well as his work with Saul Markowitz at Markowitz Communications. And my favorite, one of my favorites growing up, because I grew up with them, we have Hermie Granati and Harry Lewicki from Dueling Pianos, so that's pretty exciting.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. And so not only, let's be clear, they're going to do the dueling pianos in between all of our guests, and then we're going to talk to them about their legacy sort of in Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh music.
It's not sort of, it is a legacy.
Yeah, right.
We've been around a long time.
That's exactly what that means, yeah.
So if you guys want to gear up, we're getting ready for your first round. We'll play as you can play us into our first guest, right? So once again, we're here at the Mall of Robinson and Total Sports Enterprises. You should make sure you follow tseshop.com for all of the signings. Not a whole lot going on in the summer, but certainly as the Steelers season kicks up and kicks into high gear, there'll be more signings. So as we get ready for our Property Diva and Chris Klein, we're gonna hear some dueling pianos. What will we hear?
My Life with Billy Joe.
My Life. Oh, yeah, that's a crowd favorite. Do it.
Should we use our pistols or our swords?
That's so crazy. Well, let's pass some microphones around here. We got Chris. Chris is behind the camera. Lauren's over here. Come on over here, Lauren.
Look at his serious face.
Like literally,
He does have a serious face.
Probably one of the the things to note right now is the next time we podcast from a store that's closed, make sure the air conditioner is on.
No question. That's
Make sure they pad the walls so there's no echo.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Well, we know that people are lining up for the first autograph signing with Ryan Shazier since his injury. And so that's kind of what the excitement's all about. And this room's going to be full of people when that happens. But anyway, so welcome to the podcast, Lauren and Chris from Pittsburgh Beautiful and the Property Diva. Did I get those right? See, did you see the trepidation on Rachel's eyes? She's like, he gets it wrong every time.
Hold my breath. Please, I wrote it down for you. Yeah, well, welcome. So the true story that, we've heard about you, you've kind of exploded, which typical Pittsburgh fashion, right? Somebody starts talking about somebody, it goes like wildfire. So we've certainly been kind of following you, essentially. You made a career out of real estate, and you became this local personality. I love it.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. Super exciting. I was on the radio earlier this morning. I've been out for a long time.
Okay.
I've been talking my face off all morning.
Okay, well, you can continue to talk your face off.
We'll just take a nap.
One thing I'm
We're
super
waiting for
good
naps,
at is sell houses and we go to talk.
Okay. So I guess question number one is to kind of just jump right in. How did you know that real estate was for you? Did you always know?
No.
Okay.
15 years I was in the legal industry. So I was legal secretary, I was paralegal, and I was a forensic specialist.
Okay.
So I got a degree in forensic science law back in 2001, got 3 kids, and 2008 I decided I'm done with this. I needed something new, I needed something exciting, so I just quit and reinvented myself.
Love it. That's our story.
Yeah, right. And why real estate? Like it doesn't, it seems like, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, when someone does need a career and they're looking for something entrepreneurial, they do gravitate to real estate, it seems like. And but someone, and there's this flat level of the game, and then there's this higher level of the game, which you're operating at, right?
It's a hard industry to get into. It's really, really competitive. But you have to do things different in order to stand out. And I'm huge on customer service. I want every single one of my clients to feel like they are really and I think for as hard as I try, even when I have 50 people, I do the best I can and I really take good care of my clients. So that's the most important thing to me when it comes to the real estate transaction or the people.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's the key to anything, especially with Pittsburgh being 6 degrees, as people say, on 2 degrees of separation. I think that's really what does make a difference because you're not in that one line. Now, what is it about Pittsburgh neighborhoods? Because I know that's kind of a common connection with your husband as well. What is it about Pittsburgh neighborhoods that kind of pique your interest? If people are looking for a specific area, are you able to coerce them into a different area?
They come to me with an idea of what they want, and I'm able to fit them into a neighborhood where they will feel the most active. So, you have your millennials, you have your move-up buyers, your downsize buyers, everybody wants something different, so it's really kind of one-on-one analysis.
And I like that answer because I've been married too, that's the hot area, right? Like, Brighton Heights is now the hot area. And now I live in Ross Township and I've heard, Ross is up and coming. Is that true? Is it because I live there?
It's because you live there.
Yes. Yeah. Pearl Island is hot.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I think there are so many different parts of Pittsburgh, and that's what makes it so easy for people to move into. There is something for everybody in Pittsburgh. No matter how old you are, how young you are, what you do for a living, you find a neighborhood that you will just slide right into.
Yeah. And so I want to ask you, we're going to talk to Chris in a second because we don't want to ignore him, but think about an answer for this question. Broadcast people, radio, TV, they've all had to adapt their old jobs to add social media to themselves. So real estate agents have done that. So think about that answer for a second. So let's go to Chris, who's off camera. Chris, because
This is where John becomes a game show host.
Chris is like, hey, I'm over here, guys. It's me with the red microphone. So Chris,
I'll take real estate for 500.
So Chris, talk about how your venture into Pittsburgh Beautiful became a thing. I mean, it's huge.
It was really an accident. I moved to Pittsburgh 25 years ago, and my grandparents were from Castle Shannon, so I tell everybody that in the 70s, 80s, I visited Pittsburgh only when somebody died. So that was,
That's
it was a place to come to die, basically, when I was 10.
Yeah.
But through a series of events, I ended up moving here, and once things started to turn around, I just started taking pictures and put up a Facebook page. And that was about 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. And in the last 3 years, it's grown from a couple thousand followers to between Facebook and Instagram, almost 250,000. They're active. They're watching right now. They can't see me, which is a good thing.
I love it.
He's got his jumping
When did you see me? Hold on a minute.
This is my uniform. This is my uniform. Yeah.
And you're so right, and I think only in Pittsburgh can something like that happen. You would love it, right? That's what we hear. But everybody who's not from here, you're so embraced and welcomed in the city because we have grown so much from every standpoint. We've had this conversation many times. You know, from health and tech industry. There's just so many things. We talked about this with you last time we were together. And the neighborhoods, right? It's not something that you really focus on.
Yeah, we focus on what the people or the followers that enjoy Pittsburgh Beautiful, what they love most about all of Western Pennsylvania, because if you think about it, it's all Pittsburgh. Even parts of Ohio considered Pittsburgh. So we focus on them, you know, if you're a follower, you share what you think is beautiful in the form of a photograph, and we reshare it, and we have some original photos, and our website focuses on, you know, things that are great to do here, businesses that are Pittsburgh businesses, and each and every neighborhood, you know, within the city and also outside the city limits in Allegheny County.
Yeah.
So you're telling stories of the neighborhoods, Lauren selling houses in the neighborhoods. What part what do you guys talk about during dinner? Is it any of those two?
None of that.
We don't need dinner.
I was just going to say, we don't need dinner.
We don't really eat at all. Well, I do.
We eat in the car.
We do.
So great.
But you know, so what entertains you guys when you're do you catch up on, hey, this is what I had on the blog, and Lauren's like, wait, do you see this piece of property? What do you guys talk about? What's the downtime like?
It's constant with us. We're constantly bouncing ideas off of each other. And thank God for Chris because he manages all my social media, every platform that I have. I don't even know what half of them are.
But I know you, and all of a sudden you're like, hey.
Marketing, engineering, landscaping department.
I did that all day yesterday.
He's everything. But my industry really was able to come alive on social media. And I remember years ago when we started out Facebook, Chris said, we should put houses on. We should advertise houses on, you know, your listings and your buyers. And we started doing that. And now everybody does it. So I like to think I did.
And again, you know, to John's point, and again, not in a disrespectful manner, there's a million people who think you can grab a microphone and you're a podcaster, right? So same to your point, there's so many people who go, I think I'm going to go to real estate because what else is there? But you took that to a different level in the sense that you made yourself relatable. And that's something we talk about, that when you make yourself relatable to somebody, when you sold them.
Yeah, right. Well, my clients know how special and important they are to me, each and every one of them. And I think that's what people need, the biggest transaction of their entire life. Buying a house.
That is, it's a big deal, especially now, because I know I purchased my home when it was 20 years ago, and I could not imagine doing it now.
And all there's a lot of moving parts to real estate. If you don't have somebody holding you the whole way through, you're going to feel lost.
Yeah.
And that's the fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now, and do you feel that you become that shoulder to cry on
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you like the bartender at the salon?
A lot of times I get off the phone with people and I say, okay, no cookie today.
I love it. Yeah, that's so true. Doctor is in, right? That's so cool. So what's the biggest drastic change if somebody comes to you and says, I know that we want a 4-bedroom, but we don't want to be in the city. And then they end up in the city and, you know, that kind of stuff all the time?
I say it all the time. And I think most people don't realize how important it is. When you tell me one house, I don't know. Then I want to know what you want. And I try to fit it into that budget. About chasing the money. So budget and then like must-haves kind of. Yeah, right?
So my question was going to be like, when you're meeting with someone, do you go through the categories like, you know, it's not about the neighborhood. You say, I want to be close to a gym. I want to be close to a walking trail.
Is what I hear on the shore. I want to eat
Is her microphone here? Okay, sorry.
You know, most important concern with the community tour, because kids, they have to go to schools, they want to know churches, they want to know how quickly am I going to be able to get to work about. Sure.
Yeah.
All those things I put all together and funnel down to an area and a price point that works.
Go, yeah, just the price point, yeah.
She's used to the radio microphones.
We're not that high tech yet.
So we have every podcast we have a question of the day, so that's coming up here. But before we do that, tell everybody, Chris, where they find. We'll have it all in the show notes, the links. But tell everybody where they find you.
It's really easy. It's Pittsburgh Beautiful on Facebook.
You have to learn how to spell beautiful, right?
Yeah, that took me a while. And Pittsburgh Beautiful on Instagram, and Pittsburgh Beautiful on Twitter, and Pittsburgh Beautiful. And honestly, if I say Pittsburgh one more time, I think I'm just going to pass out.
The best thing is every one of his accounts is the same exact thing.
And that makes it so much easier for people who are doing our social media.
Hey, Lauren, where does everybody find you on here?
PittsburghPropertyDiva.com.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Property Diva on Facebook. PGH Property Diva on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram, it's Pittsburgh Property Diva.
Okay.
He got your back.
All right, so
we do this common question, okay, and it's really hard hitting, so prepare yourself. So we have storytellers here, like you guys are kind of storytellers, and these guys are kind of storytellers. Then we have musicians, and then we have a stealer. So he does, but that's not where I was going. Can you just let me?
Shut up, John.
Thank you. So you're the realtor storyteller kind of thing. If you could be any of the other things here, a musician, a stealer, what would you want to be?
Oh, I think I would go musician. I love music.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yeah. I don't want anybody to touch me, so I don't want to.
Oh. They touch you, right? They touch you as a musician. Look at her.
Yeah.
I don't want tackle.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about you. How about you, Chris?
I'd be Lauren's bodyguard.
Well, that wasn't a selection, but that's okay. We can't thank you guys enough. We really have been wanting to interview you, so we'll definitely have to have you come back on quarterly or something so we can talk about this kind of stuff more often. Absolutely.
An honor, seriously. I wish you guys could just talk about that stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Cool, thank you very much. And coming up next, we're going to talk to Brian Woodcoe and Mike Wachowski about all kinds of Pittsburgh stories. And in the meantime, we're going to hear another dueling piano situation.
Situation? Oh my goodness. This is way too early to rock and roll.
So, Mike Wachowski, Brian Woodcoe, welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, Brian. And welcome to the podcast, Mike, because you haven't been on before. This is crazy, right? So, anyway, we wanted to bring you guys on because Ryan is the director of publications at Piney's History Center, writer, author, right? And Mike, you're a writer that writes all about the cool things going on in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just big time into the storytelling because of the whole Mr. Rogers thing. Like the whole nation is finding out about Mr. Rogers, the backstory of Mr. Rogers, and not that he was a ninja or whatever else that was. Remember there was that story that he was a
You know what? The young employee at Markowitz Communications, where I worked part-time, she thought that Mr. Rogers had tattoos up and down his arms. Can you believe that?
So I wore a sweater.
I thought I was amazed and appalled by it.
Yeah, I think I would be too.
Cool. Okay, so we wanted you guys on because, again, you're writing all about we talk about all the cool things going on in Pittsburgh, at least that's what we say, so why wouldn't we have you guys on? So, Mike, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're writing about these days as far as Pittsburgh.
Well, I wrote for the Tribune Review for 16 years, and then when that kind of melted down, I sort of, well, you know, they still exist, and I still write for them, actually. They still exist, and you can see my stories there periodically.
Yeah.
But now I work part-time for Markowitz Communications and part-time for Next Pittsburgh. And my editor at Next Pittsburgh tells me that that is the third most read news website in Pittsburgh after the two newspapers.
Oh, wow.
I don't know for sure, but I believe it.
Sounds
It sounds plausible to me. Yeah.
Those are good credentials.
Yeah, I think so. And I just wrote something for City Paper about Dawn of the Dead's 40th anniversary, so I might do a little more with them. My old co-worker of mine, Rob Rossi, is the editor there.
We actually asked him to come on today as well.
Oh,
he was
really?
busy, yeah, so he'll be joining us at
Next
some
week,
point.
right, on the first sports story. Yeah. Very cool. Now, Brian, you get a chance to write about. I think I'm kind of classifying you in my own head as one of the Pittsburgh storytellers who nobody really knows about. Like everybody knows about Rick Seaback, everybody knows, right? And you have and you're the guy. You're the guy that has all these stories: Kennywood stories, Klondike stories, all this stuff.
Yeah, we've done a lot of book signings where you can see the people look in their eye that there's some guy on TV who does these shows about diners. Like, yeah, that's Rick Seaback. He's not here today. But that's okay. We've collaborated a lot. He's had me as associate producer on some of his shows, and he's given me lots of great info and images through the years. So it's been a lot of fun collaborating.
Do you also write the music that Andy Basic sings every time he's on PTO?
No, I can't take credit for that.
He just kind of goes into a show tune every time he's on.
And every time we're
Question,
right?
he's great, yeah.
Brian, did you grow up in Pittsburgh? What's your
Yeah, I am a lifelong Pittsburgher, lifelong in West Mifflin, right near Kennywood Park. And you know, I'm writing a trilogy of books on Kennywood, actually on the third one now. And you know, when I was growing up, my dad used to say, "Brian, you're becoming a writer. Why don't you write about Kennywood?" And in my teenage wisdom, I used to say, Dad, there's already books. Who needs to write that? And now I'm writing 3 books.
There you go. Always listening to your dad.
I was just at Kennywood. I think there's
a common
there's still a bug in my eye from the exterminator.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I love it anyway. It's my favorite ride.
So how did you come to choose the topics that you chose? Is it just kind of living here and knowing what the trends are, what people like, and what's informational?
Yeah, I don't think I ever had any plan. Maybe I should. Just I think whatever fascinated me, and then I realized there's not a book or something like Isling's. When I decided to do a book on that, I thought surely people have written about it because back then, 20 years ago, they were on every corner still, and everybody talked about them. And then I found there wasn't, so I thought, oh, that's what I'll do. So, and the same with Kennywood. The first book is sort of a walking tour of it. So instead of chronologically, no matter what age you are, whether you're 5 or 105, you can walk through and realize, oh, that's the new coaster. And then to some of us, we remember the turnpike being there. And then to my parents, they would remember Laugh in the Dark being there. So then it all makes sense.
And I love the fact that, I can't wait for you to tell us the story about the book that you brought today. But I love the fact that you dig deep into it, and it's your hometown, but you find things out that in how many people that are formerly from Pittsburgh are buying your books, right? Because you dig deep in and they go, oh yeah, I kind of remember that, and you bring out all the details. details.
Yeah, it's fun. We hear from people from California, Alaska. They're all Pittsburghers that have moved away. And my most recent blog story for the History Center was about Tom Tucker ginger ale. Because I remember growing up with posters of it, and now everybody buys mint ginger ale. And I wanted to know, well, who's Tom Tucker?
Yeah,
And, well, you have to read the blog.
That was good. That was a good teaser. Yeah.
Nice. And Mike, so you just covered the Mr. Rogers film, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Talk about that, and like, again, I think everybody in the country knows Mr. Rogers, but what are they finding out about Mr. Rogers? And I saw in a quick excerpt, his wife was on Jimmy Fallon.
I was just going to say, I watched it. Yeah, and she was so charismatic. And she was so excited to meet Jimmy Fallon, which I found comical. Because he, of course, is so animated and couldn't meet her. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we got to kind of do both. We were talking about this.
I even lived in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Squirrel Hill. Yeah.
I thought you spoke.
I know him.
Well, I think one of the things, I mean, there's a lot of things that are new to people introduced in this documentary, which is just a fantastic piece of filmmaking. And I got to talk to the filmmaker a little bit, who did 50 Feet from Stardom, which is, he won an Academy Award. He's a really, really great professional filmmaker. But one of the things that I think that most people don't know about Mr. Rogers was he was really, I mean, for the nicest guy in the universe, he was really kind of, he had this steel to him. He had this kind of toughness to him. He was really, I mean, he fought a war against bad television, basically. And, you know, that's why he would not give up. And he even tried to give up his show, and he felt that there was just nothing good for children on TV, and he had a real low opinion of children's television in particular. So he had this, you know, he had this toughness to him, and I think the movie illustrates that beautifully.
And I think I was reading the story, and it was saying, you know, basically to summarize, he was introverted, right? He was a very, very to himself kind of bashful man, but when he had a passion, look out kind of thing, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And I know, I think you even said something to the effect of, you know, when he went to fight for it, he figured out even how to broach subjects like divorce. You know, or things that they weren't talking
assassination.
about. Right.
They did a whole episode about assassination.
Mike went straight to assassination. I said divorce.
I know.
I don't know how Mike's like, he didn't talk about killing.
Right, yeah. I mean, the things that he brought up were kind of incredible for the time and for any time, really.
So Brian, tell us a little bit about this book that you have right now. This is a really cool story.
Sure. So, a woman came to us a few months ago and wondered if we might be interested in publishing her manuscript. Her parents met and grew up in Pittsburgh, and there's a picture of them on the cover of the book called Heart and Soul. It's an African-American couple in the 1930s in Pittsburgh, and how she knows about their relationship is after they passed away a few years ago, she found a pillowcase with 153 love letters between them when they were recording. So it uses those letters to tell their stories as they unfold, and you know, he was pretty assertive. He knew what he wanted. She still wasn't sure. She thought about having a career and waiting a little while. So a lot of letters are him pleading letter after letter. Give me a chance. I'm going to college now. I'm getting a job. And at one point, her father was his boss, so he's trying to be good at his job. So it's a lot of fun. And then she saved a lot of the photos too, so we mixed those in. And then the first time for the History Center, we published completely through Amazon. So it's both an ebook and a print on demand. So we're always trying different things there in publications to see how we can reach a broader audience while keeping costs down.
When you're going through years, you're going to find a pillowcase with a bunch of cell phones and screenshots.
Yeah, exactly. That's so interesting. Now, what do you find, having working at the History Center? Do you have a particular area that you prefer, you know, historically, or is it Pittsburgh based, or what is your passion?
Probably is 1930s, but really enjoy the league because I did work on Luna Park, and its roots really go back to the late 1800s. So I guess what is now called steam era, but Victorian Pittsburgh gaslight era. So it's really fascinating, that era between when the city was still small, and yet all of a sudden the second industrial revolution brought along telephones, trolleys, department stores, a lot of opportunities for women to finally work. And
I just kept working and working.
well, I think to this day, society a century later, and you're right, hasn't resolved how to come to terms with having fun, leisure, having women in the workplace. They were big problems in 1900 that a lot of times today society still isn't sure, you know, how to deal with that. So it's a lot of fun to research, to delve into that and live in that world.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point that we've really been talking about as well on the podcast is how Pittsburgh as a city has evolved so much. You know, just from no matter the era, you can look at any decade and just say that jump from, again, going back to tech savvy things, health industry, you know, the fact that we were the smoky town, now we're known for so many different things. And one of the bigger things that we've been talking about with Andrew Conti from Point Park is how journalism has changed. So how storytelling itself has changed. And Mike and I were talking about this off camera, offline, that basically that old school of media is no longer, because social media has kind of taken over. And Mike, you know, referred to his job as almost like the dark side, because as journalists, we were taught early on, if you worked for a newspaper or a broadcast station or a radio station, you did not focus on PR and marketing. That was like, what the hell are they doing? And Mike has a dual role. So I sort of wanted you to talk about how you're so wrong with what you're doing.
At the newspaper, we did call that the dark side, and now I do PR and I do journalism at the same time. And usually there's not a, I mean, everybody's chasing after the same nickel nowadays, so you do whatever you can to make it work, and that's what happens to make it work.
You see that weaving, right? You see that it's no longer a divide. I think it's kind of cool the way it's meshed.
Now, I really try not to cover the same stories that I'm doing PR for.
Right.
Except I made one big glaring mistake that you happened to see. I thought nobody else would notice this, which was the Mr. Rogers movie. We were doing PR at Markowitz Communications. We did PR for the big opening in Dormont at the Hollywood Theater. Right. And our shtick was that you had to wear a sweater to get in free.
Right.
And I also wrote a story for Next Pittsburgh about it.
It was fantastic. And honestly, all kidding
I made
aside,
an exception for Mr. Rogers.
You have to, and he would let you.
He would accept me just the way I am.
No question, no question.
That's so funny. So I just lost my question. I was trying to get those guys going. The question I had for you, Mike, was
how the lines blurred?
I wanted, because Rachel always talks about that. You know, the line is blurred. So how do you keep your objectivity? You know, I mean, the Mr. Rogers thing, that's pretty easy picking, right? But if you're PRing a story about, you know, a new business opening up, but in the meantime, there's a contra side to that business opening up, and it's going to ruin a neighborhood potentially, whatever. How, if you are involved in, or what do you do as a journalist to make sure that you keep yourself in check? Because that's what I always hear Rachel talk.
Oh my God, it's a case-by-case basis.
Is it just asking a lot of questions? Because that's
I think so.
Why?
And you know what his answer is? Sometimes there's not an answer, Rachel.
Sometimes there's not an answer.
Right. But I do think the ethics, they've changed, right? It's just another evolution.
But I will say that if you look at newspapers 100 years ago, it was completely blurred up. They were all lurid stories. And that's one of the books we're planning on doing, is a book on some of those stories that laid it right out there in the headline, and about all the sex and drugs and killings.
Assassination.
It's more a modern sense. That
and objectivity didn't really exist back then.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's a great story. I mean, it's so true.
So is it better now, Brian and Mike? I'll ask you both the same thing. Is it better now because of social media that they can keep the journalists in check, or no?
Case by case, right?
No.
No.
I miss the newspaper era. You know, that's my bread and butter. You know, I had my dream job there, and then I lost it. My dream job was actually it was a newspaper movie critic. I got to watch movies every morning and then write about them every afternoon, and I had it, and I lost it.
Well,
Oh, thank you.
And I said, you honestly have always been one of my favorite writers. You came
Oh,
in
thank you.
with such a young spirit, and you really changed things. And from a newspaper perspective, I'm with you. I like the fact that you can hold it, touch it, feel it, read it, and it is no longer, but it's something we have to adjust to. So we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Mike,
Question?
tell everybody. Oh yeah. Tell as we get ready for the question. Tell everybody where they find you on social media.
Michael Machowski on Twitter, and that's really the one that I do.
Okay.
You're follow you on Next, right?
Yeah, and I'm at nextpittsburgh.com. That's really where most of my stories are, and I think I have some food stories coming up soon. Yeah.
Good. And Brian, how about you? Where do we find you?
I've been doing a lot more Instagram lately, mostly because people don't complain back as much as
That's a great point.
Now let's start it, right?
But Facebook and just my books. I love writing them and talking to people about those topics.
So you're doing the job,
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
All right, here's my
So
question.
we have, a couple of, I don't know if you were listening to the others, but we have a realtor. We have, you guys are the storytellers, so you can't pick storytelling. But you can pick realtor, musician, or stealer, because those are the other professions that we're interviewing today. So which is it?
Musician.
Love it. You guys are really in the lead. Musician.
Musician, absolutely.
Drop the mic. I don't think anybody is going to become a stealer anytime soon.
No. I have enough brain damage as it is.
Well, I've met some musicians with brain damage.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Present company excluded. Yeah.
Company excluded, even though I've known them both since I was
Very
a
good
child.
point.
Well, thanks guys for coming out. We certainly
of course.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having
One more
us.
song from, I don't know, do you have a choice? Do you have a request, Mike?
Oh, he's putting in a
I don't have a request.
Brian, have a request?
Something snazzy.
Snazzy.
Rachel, do you have a request?
Yeah, that's exactly what they were planning.
Snazzy it is here.
This is a good drinking song.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we can Guys, gonna get a picture. Yeah, that was fantastic.
All the tourists covered with oil. Stuck my sister.
What's your Instagram handle? What's your Instagram?
Brian Butko.
Smile the shrimp that began. Wasted away again. Searching for my lost shaker song. Some people play, there's a woman to play. Oh, I know. Oh, it's nobody's fault. Don't know the reason. Oh, I stay here all season.
What side you want?
Nothing to show with this brand new tattoo. It's a real beauty. Mexican cutie. How I got there, I haven't a clue. Wasted away in Margarita. Searching for my lost sugar and salt. Some people claim that there's a woman to play. All I know, oh, it could be my fault.
So we're just having a good time.
We didn't want you guys to stop.
We are so different today as far as our podcast, how it's set up and how we're running it, and totally different than we've never, ever had a dual piano here.
And we've
So-
talked about it a million times.
Awesome. So we're gonna, let's see, I guess we're gonna have to bring you over here because I don't think the microphone will be long enough, right?
If we talk about ours, you can probably hear us.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that? So,
All right, so who do we have here? And go ahead, introduce yourselves.
Harry Levicki.
Yep.
Hermie Bernardi, one of the short guys.
So you guys do this, dueling pianos around. You get hired for parties. You just do it in bars. What do you do? Do it in your home?
Yes to all. Yes to all of them. Yeah. No. Sometimes it's parties. Sometimes bars, restaurants.
Wherever they pay us.
Yes. Whenever we can fool them to pay us money.
How did we get you here?
Well, Rachel called in and paid.
You wait till you get the bill.
Rachel called in a favor because I'm I'm fortunate enough that I've been around these guys since I was born with Barry, I guess, really. Hermie, I remember you as a child, obviously. You come from a musical family as well.
Sure do.
What is it about Pittsburgh that makes you want to stay here instead of going other places?
Well, I mean, first of all, you guys are some of the best singers that, people like Jimmy Beaumont. Last night, me and my brothers did a concert with a guy named Donnie Adams.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
Like my big brother, what a singer he is. I worked with B.E. Taylor.
Some of the legends.
There's been great musicians that have come out of here. Plus the sports. I feel both things are kind of relative because it's about performance.
Yes. Yeah. And we talk, as you've heard us throughout the podcast, just about how Pittsburgh has evolved as a city in so many ways. I know the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership is really instrumental right now in bringing back the music scene. They're trying to get Market Square going again. If you remember those days in the late 80s and 90s, whenever people were, it was about being outside with parties and fun and things like that. And I think they're finally realizing that that's what we need. We are a sports town, but there is room for other things, right? So it's nice to see that kind of thing. What do you guys think about the music that is up and coming right now? I mean, how different is it, or do you embrace it because musicians are kind of more open-minded?
Well, a little bit of both. I mean, I always try to keep an open mind about any kind of music. It's definitely different than what I grew up with. But, there's always, I personally can always find some good music out there,
That's something John always says. If I say, hey, this is country or this is whatever, he'll say, as long as it's live, I want to hear it.
Yeah, that's kind of, I enjoy every bit of live music, pretty much. Including mosh pits, remember we went to that one?
Not at all.
Maybe you guys just could talk about, coming off of Ryan's question there, how does Pittsburgh place as far as, we know Detroit, we know Nashville, we know LA, New York, but for years, Pittsburgh did have its place carved out and continues to do in the music foundation of the country, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think what's happening, the whole city's been in a transition ever since the steel mills went down. So I think you're starting to become a little more, it's becoming more artistic now. Plus, with the kids are able to, they can make a record on a Pro Tools rig in their house. So that's changing the landscape, So I think there's going to be some good things coming. I'm hearing some good young bands, and some of the young people that my brothers and I are associated with, they actually like the stuff that we like. They want to learn Jimi Hendrix, and they want to learn, Motown and things like that. So
John and I,
that's encouraging.
We interviewed Beauty Slap. Have you heard Beauty Slap perform?
No.
They're really good. You would like them a lot. And it's very eclectic. There's a lot of them, and they play a ton of different instruments, which I like because I don't like the synth crap, whatever. They were up there very real, raw, and I said, what is it that you get into? Like, what's your flair? And he's like, oh man, he's that musicians kind of, he said, James Brown. And I was like, oh my gosh, like who says that? It's great to hear that they want to go back to the roots of somebody like the Godfather of Soul.
Absolutely, absolutely. I teach K through 8, and a lot of my students, they love that type of music. I mean, they're very, they still like the current stuff, but I'm surprised. Every day they'll talk about a song that they like or want me to play for them. It's great. Yeah.
Well, and history's repeating itself, right? Because the stuff that you weren't allowed to listen to in the 60s is now, then it kind of reinvented itself in the 80s, and now here we are, post-millennial, and they're going back to records and vinyl, So it's kind of crazy to see that this is what's reoccurring.
So let's get into some serious questions. When you're doing dueling pianos, things have to get crazy. People are tipping you to play this song, then people are tipping you to play the next song, and whatever. What kind of crazy things are going on during dueling pianos? at a bar, and I don't know, what's better, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, what's
Oh, the stories you can tell right there?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I can tell these stories on you know, it really depends on the night, on the crowd. It can change. Some, I've had nights, I played at Jelly Rolls, the original doing piano. I played there for 5 years. Some nights, on Wednesday night would be insane. Other nights, you know, it was obviously the weekend. And as far as the hour, yeah, I think more as they loosen up a few more drinks, then yeah, it gets a little crazy.
And you, Hermie?
Well, you know, I came into this kind of kicking and screaming because I'm a rock and roll guy.
Really?
And Harry asked me that, you know, we do it independently. We were not associated with any of the corporate things. But, you know, once I started doing it, I was like, look, I can incorporate what I do. We do a little more of a show thing than the typical doing piano bars, or a little more like a DJ. They're in the service industry, basically. We try to just be entertainers and be ourselves. But we try to give the crowd the interaction. That's the whole key, is interaction. Because everybody wants to be a hand, you know?
Yeah, and everybody's a singer.
Nice. Well, before we let you guys go, first of all, thanks for doing this. We want to take you on all of our podcasts. This is a blast here, but Rachel has a question every week that you have to answer, right?
Notice the annoyance in his voice.
No, not at all.
Question. So, okay, you heard the others answer this. We have a couple different walks of life here. So, would you, if you weren't a musician, would you rather be a realtor, a storyteller, or a stealer?
Storyteller.
Nice. That was good. You can't say musician. Everybody else said musician.
Right, yeah. Storyteller.
Yeah, because really music is storytelling, right?
Exactly.
It's a different form of. So, well, we can't thank you guys enough. I do appreciate it because I did pull in a quick favor.
And she is the play. So what do you, since you pulled the favor, what do you want them to play? Yeah,
Well,
we're gonna
first
head
I
out.
want them to talk about where they can be found because I want
Yep.
everybody to have a chance to come out and see you guys. Where are you performing next?
Next show is actually Wednesday evening, free concert in Avonworth Park.
Avonworth Park.
Yeah.
Up 65.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have a concert series.
You're the best. You're the best because most Pittsburghers say down 65 and it is up 65. So it shows the difference.
Well, it's neither, but it really shouldn't be.
Up there or down there?
Oh, we're going to find you for sure. That's all.
And then we definitely will. And where do we find you on
Facebook.
Cool. We'll make sure to put the links in the show notes. And Kenny said anything, can I just sort of play us out? What are you going to play?
I'm going to be piano man.
Okay. All right.
Never heard of it.
I knew you did.
And he gets paid double because he's doing the second instrument.
Keep it away. We can play this out. We're going to thank Lauren and Chris have Pittsburgh Property Diva and Pittsburgh Beautiful.
Michael Machoski from Next to Pittsburgh and Markowitz Communications, as well as Brian Woodco from Heinz History Center.
We love the Heinz History Center. We're like best friends now, right?
We really are.
Yeah, and we also want to thank these musicians here. And thanks to Ryan Shazier for taking part of our podcast today. Great to see him up and running, and literally almost, right? And thanks to Hannah and Wayne for producing the podcast.
And Elena for coming to do our social media.
Yeah, new little addition there. Thanks to our sponsor, Total Sports Enterprises. While it's no mystery that Total Sports Enterprises at the Mall at Robinson is the leader in sports merchandise, the mystery boxes they are providing are unique gifts that sports fans are clamoring to receive.
So, from a signed 8x10 to a full-size Juju Smith-Schuster helmet, Total Sports Enterprises mystery boxes are the perfect sports surprise. Go ahead and visit tseshop.com for your mystery box or any unique sports item on your sport lover's list.
Kick it, go!
Sing us a song, you're the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. We're all in the mood for a melody. Oh, and you got us feeling alright.
We're so grateful.
Sweet. Oh my God, this is my new favorite thing. Wow, I can't thank you enough. That is so
Let's do a
awesome.
promo video for them, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Lauren, we forgot to get a picture with you. It's like just in front of the thing that we put up.
Good job, guys.
What do you want to do? All right, so thanks to Chris for coming out. Thanks to Lauren. Come on over here. Rachel. Hey guys, come on over here real quick. We're on Facebook Live. All right. So these guys, hey Rachel, these guys were our musicians. We're on Facebook Live.
Okay.
On Pittsburgh Beautiful. So these guys were our doing.
Hey, Elena.
Tell everybody they're going to find you this Wednesday night where?
Havenworth Park, 7 p.m. Free concerts, Summer in the Park, 7 p.m.
Is that like Acorn? Is that it? Yeah. Acorn Park?
Havenworth, I'm not sure, I don't know. Camp Horn
Where
Road.
Justin's
Camp
wedding
Horn
was?
Road. Camp Horn Road.
Yeah, Camp Horn Road.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. Cool. All right, so thanks guys for coming out, and always it's great to see you guys. We got to go have a hamburger. Last time we shared a pile of French fries, right?
We did, yeah.
Cool. So make sure you find the podcast, YaJagoff podcast, on YaJagoff.com, and every Tuesday on iTunes and all the social media. Thanks, guys. All right. Yeah, find us a house now, right?
Okay.
A podcast house.
I can do it.
Yeah, cool.
That would be a miniature house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
exactly.
So when is this whole Ryan coming out?
Ryan will come out at 1 o'clock. I think he's backstage now. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Should I say that? Yeah. So tune back in here on this page because at 1 o'clock, Ryan Shazier will be here, and we're going to take a few minutes to interview him. And, I mean, first time in public doing an autograph signing and raising money for UPMC spinal cord research. So, yeah, so there you go. So tune back at 1 o'clock, Ryan Shazier.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. As always, we appreciate it, and we will be back shortly.